So welcome to the second video of the complete guide to emotional release. In this video, I want to give you an introduction to the practicalities of emotional release work. I want to show you a bit how emotional release works, how we store stuck emotions in the body, and then give you a very practical exercise that you can release these stored emotions with. So if you are already on your healing journey, if you're new to this work, in this video, you will get to learn everything that you know in order to get more close to your emotions, because this is ultimately what this work is about. So what is an emotion? Let's start with that. An emotion is energy in motion. And throughout our life, it happens that this energy is getting stuck. And the stuckness is expressing itself in a curious mind that is always analyzing, that is always looking for the answers. And it's almost like our head is being cut off from our body. It's like there's emotions, there's movement in our body, but that movement is halted. There's energy in our body, but that energy is suppressed. And all of that energy gets pushed up into our minds, where the mind is trying to solve itself. And this dissociation, this distance from our bodies that this halting of movement creates is expressing itself as chronic tension, as chronic pain, for example, as like a misalignment in your posture. All of these are ways in which the body is showing you that an emotion has been suppressed, that an emotion is energy that is not moving anymore. So what is emotional release? If we see the body as a storage of undigested past, that means emotions that were continuously halted, that are not having their safe expression within us, then emotional release means creating conditions through various techniques and also through knowledge and getting into our bodies that are releasing that energy again. So emotions are energy in motion. If the energy gets stuck, we want to get this energy moving again. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept, I would say. And the essential thing that these energies need is safety. This is why if you've seen videos of people cathartically releasing and screaming, you might feel like, okay, that's a bit intense. Yes, it can be very intense. But also, this is not necessarily what an emotional release looks like. Not always. Because the body, in order to naturally produce these cathartic expressions, it needs safety. Because when does an energy within us get halted? It's in a moment of unsafety. It's in moments where we've learned that expressing certain things, being with certain things, feeling certain emotions, having certain thoughts, behavior patterns, whatever, we learn that these are not safe. And what the body does then, it makes sure that these inner movements that were connected with the feeling of unsafety, it's almost like a push forward, but the push is halted, like a movement forward, but I can't move any further because there's danger over there. It's almost like a movement that is frozen in time. And it's frozen in time because it feels unsafe. And what do we need to feel relaxed? We need to show the body that whatever has caused the unsafety in the past is not present anymore. And that what's present now instead is safety. What is safety? Safety is the same thing as witnessing, the same thing as presence. So how, for example, if you're afraid, if you have fear in your system, if you have anger in your system, how can you be safe with these energies? How can you be safe with the feeling of unsafety? It is through witnessing. It is through creating a healthy distance to that emotion so we can look at it and we can create a more healthy closeness then. It's almost like, okay, I've created distance to that emotion and now I'm here and the emotion is there and I can look at it. I can be curious. And with that, I'm communicating to my body and to that feeling that is arising that someone capable is there. And that's also why therapy works. That's why body works. That's why looking for a practitioner works. That's why the work that I do for my clients works. It's because someone else is holding that space of safety so that the emotion can learn to flow again. So I have prepared an exercise for you that you can do every day to get more in touch with your feelings more deeply. That's what it's designed to. And the good thing about this exercise, it's completely unconditional. You can basically always do that. It requires for you to have a safe space. Don't do this in the car, obviously. Do it laying down, do it seated, do it while you are walking. You can always do this in while you're having a conversation with a friend. It's about creating this witnessing presence. So what we're doing here is we are creating a vessel for the stuck energy to express itself. And that we do through looking at it. So you can find a comfortable position. This is going to be a quick exercise. It's not going to be a 20-minute meditation. I'm just want to show you this fundamental principle and how it works. So find yourself a comfortable position, tune into your body, and just take a deep breath. Do whatever you need to do in order to be present here with me. And there might be some feelings right now as you're listening to my voice within you that you find difficult to be present with. These could be ruminating thoughts. These could be tensions in your body. These could be a feeling of maybe anger or sadness, loneliness, a feeling of coldness. And I want you to locate something in your body that you have a really hard time accepting now, that you have a really hard time being with now. To me, I sense a feeling of tension in my jaw. And the first question, when you have localized that feeling, is how do you feel towards that feeling? Towards that tension, towards whatever you find hard to accept right now. How do you feel towards it? And we want to tune into the relational feel that you have towards that emotion. For me, here I have to say there's frustration coming up. I feel frustrated that this tension is there. Okay. And then if you have the answer, how do you feel towards that answer? How do you feel towards that frustration? Or maybe if you can accept that emotion right away, how do you feel towards that acceptance? For me, feeling towards the frustration is bringing up a feeling of sadness, and I can feel my jaw slightly relaxing. And the question we want to ask over and over again is, how do you relate to whatever is coming up? How do you relate to that tension? How do you relate to that frustration that you have towards that tension, that sadness that is coming up? And then we want to ask, can you allow this feeling to be here? And what we want to do then is to give that feeling and even the resistance towards that feeling, and even the resistance towards the resistance, the permission to be here. And then you might feel that you are relaxing, that something starts to flow again. And even if nothing is happening, can you allow that? Just stay with your body, stay present. And what you want to do is, the next step is really stay in touch with that feeling that you located in the first place. So for me, it would be the tightness in my jaw. How do you know that feeling is there? What are you actually feeling there? For the moment, we just want to observe. There's nothing we need to solve here. What the mind does here often is the equivalent to giving a friend like a good piece of advice when he's coming to us to just be seen. We don't want to do that here. We just want to be present. We don't want to change that. We don't want to give the tension the advice of, yeah, calm down. We want to tell the tension, hey, I'm seeing you. That's okay. And then if the tension, if that feeling wants to relax, it may relax. If the tension is increasing, it may increase. We want to get to know the feeling. We want to build a relationship with the feeling. And then there's 3 things that you can do if you're with that emotion. The first thing you can do is you can get into something we can call a phantom dialogue, a parts work process, where you start dialoguing with that tension. You can say something like, hey, tension, what are you protecting me from? And as you concentrate on the tension or the feeling, just see what is arising from that. Maybe an image comes, maybe a thought comes up, a sentence. Maybe something is changing in your body. Then you can enter a dialogue with that part, with the tension. How would it look like if it had a body? What would it wear? You can ask this part, what is your role in my life? What message do you have for me? How can I best support you? So just stay with that part and see what comes up, see what's arising. And again, this is a daily practice that you can do with any tension within your body. For example, I am feeling a bit of tension in my back now. And I could go there and ask the tension in my jaw if it's okay if I look at this part of my body, ask for permission, then move on and create a web of relationships within my own body-mind system. And in that way, it's really a paradox. I'm creating distance and closeness at the same time. I'm healthily dissociating from that feeling, and simultaneously, I'm more associated with myself, with my witnessing presence. The witnessing presence that can provide safety for the parts of us that maybe never have been felt safe before, that created the tension out of a feeling of unsafety. The second thing you can do is giving that part a voice. So you can sense into the tension and you take a deep breath in. And then you do what we call an expressive breath. Ah. can see my jaw is like opening up. And what you're doing here is you're tuning into this tension. You're concentrating on the tension. You take a deep breath in, and while focusing on the tension, you're making a sound. There's a bit of practice needed here, and it might seem weird in the beginning, but I can tell you it's really powerful. This is what I mean by creating a vessel for the emotion so that it can express itself. This is what I meant in the first video where it talked about the clogged pipe. And you can somatically feel when the pipe is getting unclogged and the emotion is like flowing again. You feel more vibrant, more life in your body, very subtly. Sometimes also very powerfully and grandiose. But it can be subtle. It can be just the feeling of, oh, I feel more present. So let's take another expressive breath. So I just felt that the tension in my jaw was connected to a tension in my throat up here. And that almost caused me to cough or to not vomit, but there was movement going on in here. And also I felt sadness before. And for me, sadness is often stored in that area here. So that's how we can get a hold, like a lay of the land, so to speak, of our body. This is the second thing you can do. The third thing you can do is create physical movement with your body. So you can put on music and you can tune again into that feeling you have. You can close your eyes and just like I'm doing now, you can see how your body wants to move while you're focused on that tension. For me, it's a lot like, for some reason, like my neck wants to move. Like I'm more focused on my face. I can now feel that there's some tightness here. And again, I'm not trying to relax that tightness that I have in my face. It's not about that. It's about witnessing it and then seeing, being open to what's happening. So even here you might think this is looking a bit strange, and indeed it can feel strange in the beginning, but see the results for yourself, really. It's worth it getting into your body and getting in touch with your feelings. And then now, as we have done these three things to get closer to our bodies, just check in with yourself. How do you feel now? I feel more present. I still have like a bit of a swing in my body, like a gentle rocking. And generally I feel more present. I feel really good. And maybe you can even notice some shifts also within me while you watch the video. Starting a video is always exciting. And then when I did the exercises and I got closer in touch and more in touch with the safety in my body, I got to relax. And maybe you felt that as well. So these are the effects of an emotional release. And as you can see, this wasn't like cathartically screaming and punching, though it can become that. The expressive breath can turn into a scream. The movement can turn into you punching a pillow, can turn into you stomping on the ground, can turn into you doing expressions like this. Really getting into it. Really establishing the flow of what's been halted maybe for decades within you again. And if nothing happens, that is okay. We are not looking for a release. We are not looking for that moment of insight. What we're looking for is relationship. How do you relate to that feeling? Can you be with it? Can you move with it? Can you cry with the feeling? Can you be present with the feeling? That is what we want. We don't want to remove the quote-unquote bad emotions. We don't want to get rid of the tensions. We want to establish a relationship with them because, again, when emotions are energy in motion, we want to get to know what energy is there, what energy is like in this treasure trove of our tensions and of our feelings. What am I releasing there in the first place? Maybe I notice that I'm afraid of what's hidden in there. Maybe it's like a Pandora's box kind of situation where you feel like, oh wow, there's a lot of aggression in there. And there's another part that is covering that is afraid of that tension. And then you might understand while you've been suppressing that aggression in the first place, because it maybe felt dangerous to another part of you. And then you ask yourself, can I allow for that part, that fear to be there? And how do I relate to the fear? And then you might think, yeah, I understand. You can feel your body softening. And if you understand that fear, can you allow for that frustration to be there? Maybe 0.5% more. To me, speaking that out loud, I can imagine being with that frustration a tiny bit more, accepting it a bit more. Yes. You notice in my voice that I approach this with a sense of slowness. We want to choose depth over intensity. Probably, like when the body is under stress, when it's suppressing emotions, there's like a baseline of stress and intensity that we've been cutting off. And this is why I'm not advising you to punch a pillow right away and to put on like intense music and be like, this is not another 15 minutes emotional release kind of session video where you just get to scream in intensity. No, I want to invite in slowness, because slowness is relationship. Slowness opens up the space for noticing. And that's what we want to do. We want to create the ability to notice. This is about listening. This is not about performing. We want to listen to the emotion. And again, we want to create a vessel for it to experience itself in depth, in slowness. And through that contact, we want to find out, how does the emotion, how does that energy wants to move? Because that energy, in some sense, is autonomous. It's like maybe like a little kid or like a grown-up that is frustrated. And then we're asking, how would you like to move? I'm not telling that little kid, you should move this and that way. And because you should move in this and that way, I'm now doing this. Maybe that kid just wants a hug. Maybe it's this sort of movement. It's about letting go of all the attachments and all the ideas that we have about certain emotions and really establishing a relationship. And then in that relationship, creating a vessel for the experience to flow through us. So I hope you found that video helpful. I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about release work, about somatic work. I have more videos coming up about somatic parts work and shadow work, and really getting into the depth of this method, and frankly about this way of looking at the body, your experience, and of life itself. So subscribe to the video, leave a comment if it resonated, and give me a thumbs up. I hope I'll see you in the next video, and take care. Get in touch with your body. You can do it. Bye-bye.